Good evening, everybody. My name is Jamal Childs, and this is another episode of Conquering the Octopus TV show. This show was thought out of and made out of necessity, as far as I'm concerned, related to what I went through in the Veterans Administration, Benefits Administration, the Health Administration of Veterans Affairs in 2010 when I came in the VA system. So at this present time, I want to usher in our sponsor, Ron Skelton, How to Exit. This podcast is for acquisitions and teaching people how to acquire businesses that are already established. Mr. Skelton is an Air Force veteran that lives in California. His show comes on every Wednesday and Friday, approximately at 9 o'clock, and you look him up on social media. It's very interesting, the things that he's doing with the community, world, and neighborhood, and we take our head out to Mr. Skelton. So that's the sponsor, and we're going to keep it moving. Thank you very much. We got a lot of stuff that we have to cover in a short period of time. I'm doing this show by myself today because I got to get a message out to the veterans of the United States of America and to the people of the United States of America. I'm a first person. I don't need nobody talking for me. I'm 60 years old. I've been around the world 60 times. What I'm going to say is coming from the heart, love, concern, consideration, and God first all the time. So I'm going to play this video first. I want people to listen. I talked to a couple of veterans this morning, and we have a problem with listening in 2024. So that's what I'm asking. I want you to listen when I'm playing for you so you have a better understanding of what you might have to deal with in your in particular situations with the VA.
I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it because I need to get it out. All right, I'm a veteran. I've been trying to get my VA disability for over, 20 years. All right, I got my answer back yesterday. They denied me everything. Denied. And when I say deny me everything, I mean deny me an increase. I'm at 90%. I'm trying to get that last. So for the MST specifically, all right, I'm at 50%. Right there, that's a no-go. Really? 50%? What did he halfway assault me? I'm so upset, and I know you can't tell because I'm smiling, but I'm really mad. And here's the kicker. The reason why they won't go from 50% to 70% on my military sexual trauma is because I haven't verifiably tried to off myself. That's what gets you from 50% disabled to 70% disabled if you try to off yourself. I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it because I need to get it out. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, that video was on Facebook. It was sent to me from a dear lady friend of mine that I'm involved with, engaged to, and things of this nature. And that's very disturbing for this lady to be putting up out there on social media how she is emotionally feeling with dealing with her VA and what in particular area of the United States you live in. It's sad to say, coming from me first person, I feel the same way, and this is 2024. I went in the VA system in 2010. I didn't know I was a veteran. I didn't know I was alcoholic. I didn't know I was angry. I didn't know I had a mental disorder. And what I went through in the Veterans Benefits Administration and Health Administration of Veterans Affairs was tumultuous and traumatizing. Adults are dream killers. Adults are liars. Adults will cheat you out of your entitlements and benefits because they will give you false information. Now, there's a lot of good people in the VA. I'm not going to negate that part. But what I went through, that's why I'm doing this show. So on this shirt, it says, "You're not alone." It's me right there, first person. This is 1984 in boot camp, Fort Dix, New Jersey. I went in the military one way, and I came out another way. My mother used to say, something's wrong with you. I look at her like, what are you talking about? You're not the same. But she said that for years. So a lot of things were not discussed because during that time, coming out of the military in the 80s, you know, certain things you were taught, a man suck it up and keep it moving. That's what you were taught, indoctrinated, instructed. Men don't cry. So Jamal didn't cry. So here we go. Let me tell you how I end up in the VA. First person. When I say first person, I'm talking for myself. I have a problem with people because they don't decipher the proper information to people on a consistent basis. That's why we're going through this wave like this. I say conquering the octopus because octopus has tentacles all over the place, shooting die in the individual or people's faces telling lies. That's how I look at the V. I look at the V as an octopus with these tentacles, and you know, you got primary care doctor, you got the psychiatrist, you got travel pay, you got the woman's clinic, you got, you know, all these different entities going on which supposed to coincide and work together. And I'm here to tell you in 2024 is not. It's sad to tell you that. So I end up in the VA because a friend of mine's that I used to party with like a rock star. When I say party, we used to drink a lot and party and go these different places. He disappeared. Then one day there was a knock on the door and I looked out the window and it was Kelly. I said, man, I ain't seen you in a couple months. I thought he was locked up or whatever. No, he was in treatment in VA hospital treatment center in Prairie Point. That's 50 miles outside of Baltimore. So I think it's 320 acres. They got a building 22, 24. You know, they have a homeless unit up there. They got a, you know, different psychiatric units up there. They got places up there for combat veterans. They have a hospice up there. They have a adult daycare and, you know, things up there. So it's a huge facility. So what happened was he came, got me the next day and took me in the VA. He said, look, I need you to do this. And I was like, why is this guy so adamant? I'm down here, I don't want to talk to these people, plus I still was drinking. So the day before I was trying to take him to the bar to celebrate whatever. He said he stopped drinking. I didn't believe him. So the next day he came, he said, look, let's go. 7:30 in the morning. You know, and the conversation was, this is military terms, shit, shave, and bathe. So I knew what that meant. I'm looking out the second floor window like, what? So he took me down there and got me signed up. I got a primary care doctor, I got a psychiatrist, and all these different appointments. I'm like, man, I don't even know why I'm down. I'm irritated. I'm trying to go to the bar. I ain't had no sleep. You know, and he was like, look, this is what I need you to do. I need you to meet me down here. I'm like, why are you so adamant about me coming down here in this place? He said, you need to stop drinking. I said, well, you know what? Maybe I do. But at that present time, I was struggling with alcoholism seriously. I was deep in alcoholism. I was really depressed when I'm reflecting back. I'm reflecting back on me. I'm not talking about nobody else. So he was like, I'm going to sign you up for these groups, and I need you to make these groups. So we went up there. He signed me up for all these groups, father's group, bereavement group, relationship group, and, you know, I'm going to groups. So he said, what I need you to do is take notes, sit up front, and don't run your mouth. I'm looking at this guy like, who was you talking to? Then a big light bulb went off in my head. I was like, you know what? I know this guy knows judo and karate, and he's been in combat, so, you know, I think I better not mess with him. Plus, I already knew I couldn't beat him anyway. I was too weak, and he was in shape and stuff like this, so there was nothing I could do. And so I followed instructions to the T. Ladies and gentlemen, hear this, to the T. So what he said to me, I'm going to sign you up for these groups, but if I can't come get you, you meet me down here. And I'm a man of my word. That's all I got. I don't have nothing else. I wasn't working at that time anyway. So I used to walk from Eager and Eden Street to the VA downtown. That was, I would take the walk. So if I had to be at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock group, I would walk down there. And a lot of times I would walk back home. So I'm talking to myself, walking like, what is I'm doing? So I gets down there and he was like, look, you need to change. I said, okay, well, where do I start at? Well, the first thing you start with is acknowledging that you're an alcoholic. Well, I didn't even know I was alcoholic because I thought drinking was normal. So I really picked up the skill set, for better choice of words, drinking in the United States military. They used to, when I was in the service, and I'll get to that part later, usher us in beer. They had beer tents. Come on, you guys, come over here and drink. You had a good day today, you had a good day at the range, good day at training, blah, blah, blah. Yes. Pour you some, pour you some, pour you some. This is at Fort Dix, New Jersey, at boot camp on our passes on the weekend. So when I went in the military, I missed Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and my birthday because I was in boot camp. I went in boot camp November the 21st, 1984, in the dead winter. You out there. And had to make a day of it. So I'm already been raised by a father and mother that were very serious about life, very serious about religion, very serious about what they did with us. And we were brought up in business. So I'm used to structure because of Fred and Mary Childs. That's Mary Childs in that picture behind me right here. That's a picture of my mother. I keep up because she's looking over my shoulder 24/7. I'm going to do what mother tell me to do. I ain't worrying about what nobody else say. Mother tells me, say, this is what I need you to do. So this is what I need to do. So me and my mother share the same birthday. So when I got in the service, I'm used to structure because I was raised in business. My mother and father had a small moving company, and they had a used furniture store in Baltimore, Maryland, on Greenmount Avenue for years. So I come up in business. I come up with people that hold you accountable. Like, you couldn't have a dirty room. You didn't go outside looking crazy. When I say looking crazy, you had to put your clothes on and look proper around them, and you couldn't use profanity and things. This is above a lot of people's heads. Come up in a different era, and we were raised Muslims. I was raised in the Nation of Islam. My first learning was in the Nation of Islam, 514 Wilson Street in Baltimore, Maryland. So I went to Muslim school. I didn't go to European indoctrinated schools. My first part of learning. So from the first, second, third, fourth, fifth to sixth grade, went to Muslim school, and when Elijah Muhammad died, then we end up in the European schools, for better choice of words. So we were articulate, thought different, read different, did math different, science different, in this thing. So it's like you were the nerd. You want to call me the nerd? I was the nerd in the classroom. People laughed at me and joked and stuff like that. Till it came time to do your homework and on book reports. So let's get back to this military stuff. So get back in the VA, and Kelly was like, look, I need you to stop drinking. And when you're having these long conversations, like really, how did you stop drinking? I don't know how to stop drinking. Somebody show me how to stop drinking. I mean, educate me on how to stop drinking. Go to these groups and limit what you're doing at the bar. This was the conversation. I need you to limit that. And he used to put his finger in my chest. One day I have him on this show. He was like, do you really have to do it like that? I need your attention. And it's the problem with people right now. They say, well, the conversation is abrasive. Well, guess what? Being broke is abrasive too. Now put them two together and see what you can figure out. Because I don't care about the delivery. Just tell me what I need to do. I can sit there with a pen and a paper like I did right here. That's what I'm talking about. When I'm talking, I wrote it down in shorthand. I know to do a little bit of shorthand. We do have some kind of formal education and doing different things. So he was like, this is what I need you to do. So I said, okay. I wanted to stop drinking anyway. It was a mess. I was like, it was, my life was a hot mess, and I didn't know it. And then when I got to the point to accept that, then you can do something about it. So if you know better, we should try to do better. That's what we should try. I can't put that on nobody else because, you know, people gonna do what they want to do. I'm not the United States complaining type person, you know what I mean? So he was like, I want you to make all these groups. Okay, Kelly, I'm gonna make all the groups. Now, coinciding with that one, he signed me up for commitment work therapy in the VA. So I'm like, I was getting a stipend. And also, I was working in volunteer services. This is and me going down there, going to groups, going to volunteer services and work commitment therapy in the VA hospital. Mr. Kelly, I gotta take my hat off to you, United States Marine, the finest. So as time went on, He said, I need you to sign up for this group on the 6th floor. It's from I think 1 to 2:30. It's called Compensation and Pension Group. Jamal, go to the group, sit in the front, take notes, and don't cause them a whole bunch of confusion. Now, it's a reason he was saying that. So I went to the group. I signed up for the group. It's a young gentleman named, hold up a minute. Can't do this one. Trevor Lane. Trevor Lane was the facilitator of that group in Baltimore, Maryland. And he's a young white fellow, and he was a Marine. He used to be very informative. So for like 7 weeks, I went to that group consistently, and I did what Kelly told me to do. So I asked Trevor Lane, I said, you think you could help me? He said, sure. Go order your service treatment medical records, people. Follow instructions. He said, call 1-800-827-1000, 1-800-827-1000 back then, and ask them to mail you the paperwork, or you go to the library and you order your service treatment medical records, and they will come to your house in a full packet. And in about 3 weeks, they came. So he said, once you receive that file, which I didn't know what I was looking at, come back to me and I'm gonna help you out. So I follow instructions, put in for the records came. The file was this thick, about big as a telephone book. I don't know what I'm reading. So I'm looking at it. So I met him the first time in the cafeteria in the VA hospital, and he went over the file and said, okay, he wrote his list. He wrote a list down and gave it to me. And he said, okay, this is what you need to go to the doctors in the VA hospital for. Okay, I got a VA medical card. I'm in priority group, I think 1 at that present time, 1 being because I'm new in the VA system that I assume. So in order for you to get a VA ID card, ladies and gentlemen, you have to have at this present time 180 days of active service. That means National Guard and Reserve. So if you were in reserves and they sent you overseas somewhere, if you were in reserves and they sent you to places like Katrina or Panama or this and there, if you was in the National Guard and they activated the unit and actually sent you different places around the world, that is active duty. And another thing, ladies and gentlemen, active duty when you're in the reserves and National Guard is every weekend you drill. Every time that y'all go away for a month or 2 or 3 weeks, that is active duty. Can we get that out clear? And let's have this conversation. And I'm gonna get back to the other thing. If you get injured while you drill, you can file claims for being service connected for your injuries, conditions, and disabilities related to your training or your occupation in the military. So if you're in the reserves and the National Guard and you're drilling on a weekend and y'all are repelling and you hurt your back, or you do some PT and fall down and bust your knee open, you can file claims. This stuff gets tumultuous because people think, well, I wasn't in combat. Well, check this out. When you went in the military as SLIGA, on there it says injury, loss of limb, or death. That's what you file insurance for. So let's go back all the way back to what he was saying. Sit up front, take notes. Trevor Lane took my records, made a list, and he stated, this is what you need to go to the primary care doctor for. These injuries, conditions, and disabilities that are notated in your service treatment medical records. I went to the primary care doctor and complained about that list that he stated and he wrote that he gave to me. Go complain about this. Then one time he called me up and said, look, it's cold outside. I need you to go to the ER. I said, Trevor, it's 12 o'clock at night. He said, go to the ER. Follow instructions, people. Go to the ER and follow and complain about my conditions. Now, we met 3 times. The ex-wife was sitting there fiddling her fingers, not paying attention to what this man was saying. I'm like, could you get off your phone and pay attention to what this man's saying, because he's very detailed and we got to handle the business. You know, you got, kids and grandkids and all the stuff going on. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm following instructions. So finally, he got to the point where Trevor Lane took an ink pen and wrote my paperwork up with a pen. He said, now take this to 31 Hopkins Plaza, get a date stamp, get your copy, and come up out of there, and I'll tell you what to do. Follow instructions, human beings. Don't make it difficult. It didn't matter it was cold, it didn't matter it was raining, it didn't matter it was hot outside. The man said, take that paperwork to 31 Hopkins Plaza in Baltimore, Maryland, and they open up at 9 o'clock in the morning. And a lot of times when you went down there, you had to stand in a line outside because you had to get searched and checked to see if you got any weapons or drugs on you and the dog up on you in all 9 yards. Then you go to the Veterans Administration, sign the clipboard, and sit and wait for them to call you. It did VFW, American Legion, Purple Heart, Paralyzed Veterans, DAV, all these service organizations over here. He said go to the VA and file his paperwork. I followed instructions. I filed the paperwork. I got the date stamp, seal on it, left off out there, met him a couple weeks later. Now that's what you need to do. You need to keep on going to the doctors until they close these claims. Okay, buddy. You ain't got to tell me twice. Now let's go back to Trevor. So Trevor and Kelly knew each other, both of them Marines. So they had one Marine on this side that was black, was Kelly, and Trevor on the other side that was white. So, you know, this is the American melting pot right here. So God said it takes a village. So that's the village right there. So I want you to catch up what I'm saying to you. I'm still drinking. I'm still partying. I'm still the hood dude, this, that, and the third. So, you know, we're trying to do all this at one time, and I'm a little bit confused because I'm all over the place. But eventually, the stars fell in line. So you got one guy telling me about paperwork and one guy trying to keep me from drinking. So, you know, I can't fight both of these Marines because, you know, these guys was in shape and I was in no shape even deal with them. So, you know, I had to follow orders. This guy right here, follow orders. So, time went on. So this is 4 months or 5 months after I got my VA ID card, because you got to have your DD-214 to get your VA ID card, and you have to have certain discharges to get a VA ID card. So let's talk about discharges while we're having this conversation. What type of discharges are from the military? You got several different.
According to military.com, Dodge supplied military vehicles throughout world.
No, I didn't say that. What are the different type of discharges from the military? Honorable discharge, under-honorable discharge, general discharge, other than honorable discharge, bad con discharge, dishonorable discharge, and uncharacteristic discharge. Now, let me say that again. Honorable discharge, under honorable conditions, general under honorable conditions, under other than honorable conditions, bad conduct discharge, dishonorable discharge, and uncharacteristic. When you go to eligibility in the VA hospital, they're going to ask you for Social Security card, maybe your birth certificate, your DD-214, some mail from your house, and it's 8 categories for veterans. Now, they're going to make a determination from a means test of your prior work history. Can you be put in this VA system within them 8 categories? Now, if you don't have 180 days of active duty anywhere in the world, you're going to have to file claims in the VA system to get a VA ID card. You got to file claims. That's what it is. So what they used to do is take your picture ID and give it to you the same day, but right now they outsource it like they're doing everything else in the world. Outsource. You take your picture and then you'll get it in the mail, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks later. But that's how that goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important for you to understand. I had to learn the system from other people that were willing to help. So when the help need help, can you show up? I tell people this all the time. They want the help, but they want the help to do everything. So you got to help yourself. So you got to open yourself up to what you need to do for yourself. It's no 2 VA systems the same. Pittsburgh don't work like Baltimore. Baltimore don't like San Francisco. Oakland don't work like Boston. Boston don't work like Miami. I'm in the state of Florida, and none of these systems in there work the same. Tampa does not work like Miami, and Jacksonville don't work like, um, let's say, a little clinic or Ocala or whatever like that. So even the clinics are different. So you got all these different VA systems, which is supposed to be one system in the state of Florida, and none of them work the same. Don't try to figure it out. What you got to figure out is what you need to do for yourself and get prudent information to help yourself. The number one thing is, what is service connection? Service connection is injuries, conditions, and disabilities related to your occupation in the military. What was your occupation? Some people been there 30 years, had 4 occupations. Some people in there 20 years had 5 occupations. So let's talk about me. I was a welder, 44 Bravo. I went from Fort Dix, New Jersey to Aberdeen Proving Ground for my school. We was ordnance, fell up on the ordnance flag at Aberdeen Proving Ground. So the welders, machinists, and mechanics work together. So what are the occupational hazards that I have related to my job in the military? Bilateral hearing loss, migraine headaches, bilateral knee conditions, lower back conditions, left shoulder condition, neck condition, PTSD associated to burns, upper and lower extremities. I have burns from welding on my arm and legs, left and right side. So it's upper and lower extremities. They're not significant burns, but they're significant enough to cause me mental health trauma because I was actually on fire a couple of times. So trying to explain that to somebody is like, oh, well, how's that significant? Because have you ever been on fire? Has your clothes ever been on fire? Have your clothes ever been on fire where it burnt to your skin? So on my leg, I have sizable marks, and I'm dark skinned. These marks are darker than my skin, so it stands out a little bit if certain people was just looking at my arms and my legs if I expose that. So when I was in the service, I ended up in a hospital after this welding accident, and they put a popsicle in my mouth. And see, bite down on that. I got no pain meds in that hospital when they clinked these wounds, upper and lower extremities, and bandaged me up and sent me back to the barracks and put me on sick call. I was on sick call with, I think, approximately a whole month. I did not go to work. I did CQ duty, captains of quarter duty in the barracks, signing people in and out the barracks, signing people in and out the barracks. When I looked at my service treatment medical records from 1984, 85, 86, 87, 88, I was on Percocets and oxycodones. That was the prescription. So we're going all the way back to flashbacks, migraine headaches, anxiety, paranoia, and things of this nature, which I can say I had that back then because my body was all over the place. Nobody sent me to a psychiatrist, psychologist, or therapist on active duty in 84. It was unheard of. And if they did have one on the base, I didn't know nothing about it. So guess what your coping skills were? Alcohol. Yes, I traced it all the way back. I didn't really start drinking until I was in the military. So I was on CQ duty, and the sergeant said, let me speak to you for a minute. Come in this room. You're a good soldier. Hold your head up. And then take this. Gave me a cup of liquor and I drank it, and I've been off of the races ever since. I drank that cup of liquor. I can't even remember what it was, but when I drank that cup of liquor back there in the 80, I think it was 85, I was already on medication on top of the liquor. So the psychiatrist said what happened was with me is once the pills disappeared, my dependency came on alcohol. Wow. Like that 27 years later. I went in the VA in 2010. I got out in the military in 88. So it was 20-something years later. Like, what? So we can't self-diagnose ourselves. So doing all that PT, physical training, which the general public don't understand, that in the United States Army, you're doing something physical at 5 o'clock or 5:30 in the morning. But where we were, it was 5:30 in the morning. So sometimes we ran 5 miles, 7 miles, things of this nature, jumping jacks, all kinds of physical activities. I've been to the range. I've been in the field, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a field soldier. We're not garrison soldiers. Garrison soldiers are people that stay on post. We went to the field. Now, we didn't go to the field as much as other people, but we went enough. So, living outside in the tent, I know about that. So, nobody can tell me nothing about living outside in a tent city where the feed up is over there, the washroom is down there, the motor pool is down there, and you navigate all the stuff in the daytime and night, ladies and gentlemen. This is back in the 80s when they didn't have cell phones and all this GPS stuff, so you had to use reasonable thought and your thought process to navigate these places by yourself sometimes. So we do have a lot of anxiety, mood swings, agitation, and stuff related to our occupation in the military, because we were always doing something. It's either go here, stay there, stand there, wait for us to call over there. A lot of us have anxiety from the gas chamber, for people calling our name all the time, and from working extra duty. So when I say extra duty, say for instance, that somebody didn't show up and you had to do their job. So say for instance, you was a pipe fitter or a plumber or a welder like me, and this guy, he couldn't finish the job. Well, guess what? You got to finish it. And they didn't care if it was cold. They didn't care if it rained. They didn't care if it snowed. You had to finish the mission. So we're going all back to Trevor Lane doing my paperwork. These are the questions he asked me. What did you do in the military, and what was horrific to you in the military? I'm looking at him like, horrific? What do you mean by that? What was the bad part about being in the service? Well, one of the things is I was exposed to overt racism in the military. I never ever was really called the N-word, for better choice of words, until I joined in from some Caucasian military personnel. And then it was segregation in the mess halls, because the black sat over there and the white sat over there. This is in 1984. People can believe what you want to believe, because we still got it going on right there today with these people talking about make America great again, but that's a whole nother subject. Because America was great when they was killing Indians and hanging slaves and black folks. That's when America was great. So that's how I feel about that. But let's go back to this military stuff. So Trevor said, I want you to put this paperwork in. And he handwrote the paperwork, put it in. Then eventually I end up at Perry Point myself for 4 months. Undiagnosed mental health condition, didn't know I was an alcoholic, didn't know I was angry, was unemployed. So the first month that I was at Perry Point, after seeing a psychiatrist, psychologist, a doctor, and the treatment team, it's a treatment team inpatient. So when I went to the treatment team, after I left the hospital, I said, I need a room to myself. And they put me in a room to myself. So the first month I was up there, I was detoxing, trying to detox off of this alcohol. So I wasn't fully detoxed off of alcohol. It was terrible, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not making this stuff up. I will never, ever take another drink in my life. I don't care what nobody's saying. NA, AA, we, they. We ain't doing that one. I gave it to God. Never. That detox off that alcohol at Perry Point, I thought I was gonna die. I was in the bathroom, I was sweating, I was taking showers, I had to throw my underwear away, throw my t-shirts away. I said, you know what, I'm not doing this no more. I made up my mind in 2010, no more drinks for me, and I stand on that to this day, and I haven't had one since. And I ain't saying I'm better than nobody, but today, no more drinks for me, because I'm gonna self-destruct. So, at Perry Point, the ex-wife calls up and say, did you put a large amount of money in the bank account? Like, what are you talking about? No, I didn't. Then she faxed the paperwork up there. I went in the room and looked. I said, oh my God, I'm 70%. I didn't even know what I was reading. I'm inpatient, hadn't had a job in over a year. Now I'm inpatient at Perry Point because Val, the therapist, say, we need to send you inpatient because you're still drinking. Like, I suggest that. You had too much clutter in your head. I didn't even know what that meant. All this stuff was learned. I said, okay, well, I'll go inpatient. I didn't know what I was doing. Look at the paperwork, like, what the hell? So I go to the people and say, look, I need to get a pass to go to Baltimore. They wasn't going to give it to me. I need to see Trevor and Kelly. Say, okay, we're gonna give you a pass. You got to get on a bus at 5:30 in the morning, and you got to be back here before 5:30 in the evening. So it's an hour ride. Rode all the way down to Baltimore. Got there at 6:30. Waited for Kelly and Trevor to come in the building. They wasn't answering their phones. I could not find them. Went up to the 6th floor like 8 o'clock. Seen this dude. I said, "You seen Kelly?" Nah. "You seen Trevor?" He said, "Just went in that bathroom." I went in that bathroom. I said, boom, boom, boom. I knock on the store. I open the store. The man is sitting on the store. He's sitting on the store with his pants down. I said, "You see this paperwork? You see this?" I said, "Jamal, calm down, calm down, calm down." Go over to the site. I'm waiting for him to come up. I'm nervous. I'm shaking. I don't know why this guy don't answer his phone. Why they ain't answering their phones? He was like, "What's going on?" I said, "I'm 70%. He said, "Wonderful." I said, "I'm going to the bank and get you $2,000. He said, "Nope. See me at the group." I said, "What do you want me to do?" "See you at the group." Now, this is how all this stuff started in the bathroom on the 6th floor after following instructions. Boom, boom, boom. He goes to his groups. I go to a couple groups saying that I just signed in and go to groups so I can get back up with him later. So this is what this man said to me. "Ladies and gentlemen, you're 70%. This is what you need to do. Got another block instructions. Keep on getting instructions. You got to get a pen and paper these days. You know, you old school and new school. Got to put them together. You got to go to the library and put this homework together. What do you want me to do? I need you to do blah, blah, blah." So I said, "Let me go to the bank." He said, "Nope. This is what I want you to do. You need to help veterans." I said, "Why?" I said, "Why did you do my paperwork?" This is what he said. "Ladies and gentlemen, you sat up front, you paid attention, and you took notes, and you didn't give me any problems." I said, "Are you serious?" He said, "Yes. You need to consider on helping these veterans because you're the kind of person that you're going to get to where it is. And I watch you for over 8 weeks." He observed what I was doing. I followed instructions from Marine Kelly that sent me to Marine Trevor Lane. Like, this is crazy. You want me to do what? He said, "You need to be an advocate." That's God's intervention, people. That's God's intervention. This ain't what man. Let's get out of man what man said. This is God in this room talking to the guy that just got detoxed off the alcohol from 27 years with dysfunctional behavior, been all over the place. I had every good job in the world, couldn't keep one. You understand what I'm saying? We can talk about that later. So he was like, I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I went back to Perry Point. On that bus, I'm going across the bridge from Harford County to Cecil County, looking at Susquehanna River, and it hit me. My father said, and my mother said, "You will be your best when you stop drinking." I got in my room, got on my knees, and prayed to God. Played Shirley Caesar, and asked God for guidance and direction. I fear nothing but God. I made my peace with God, and it's over. I'm God's servant. This is where all this started. I got 70% inpatient in Perry Point while I'm detoxing and trying to get my mental health together. That ain't nothing but God. So a lot of people were getting their money when they were inpatient. I stayed the whole time. I was supposed to stay 4 to 6 months. I stayed there 4 months and went to every group, and they said, "You're a miracle in progress." I said, "What is that supposed to mean?" In compliance, as far as the facilitators stated that I was in compliance. I don't know what other people are doing, but we had a lot of problems up there because people were trying to tell me what to do and so they had character defects. And I was like, well, y'all got character defects too. So why you gonna say I got character defects? Well, you got character defects too. So, we can talk about character defects. So we went to NAA meetings, you had all these different groups, step groups, and you had groups about addiction, and you had groups about fatherhood, and how to cope with your mental health. So at given times it's kind of intense, but I'm on board because I got kids to take care of, and I got a family, and I ain't got time to be playing around. So when I got that money, what I did was educated myself. This guy, you see this guy right here? I was 47 years old when I got my first percentage. So what you do is educate yourself. CFR, Title 38, Bonuses, Pensions, Veterans Relief Part 4. This medical manual has 1,800 conditions that we can file claims for. So look it up. CFR, Title 38, Bonuses, Pensions, Veterans Relief Part 4. Also, ladies and gentlemen, Trevor Lane was the one that showed me this VA system. I am educated and taught how to navigate certain situations back in 2010, but it has changed tremendously since this point. So I worked at Johns Hopkins Hospital as a union rep for over 10 years, litigating all kinds of things. People lost their jobs, people were sleeping on jobs, people were eating on jobs, people were stealing on jobs, you're trying to save people's jobs. Then you had to go to the bargaining table when the contracts come up, and everybody had a different contracts for the phlebotomists and the nutritionists and the people that worked in housekeeping didn't have the same contracts. So, you know, they had to deal with the insurance, you had to deal with, you know, cost of living adjustments and all that stuff like that. So I've been at the bargaining table off and on for 10 years. So litigation is litigation, no matter what it is. So I look at the VA as a business. They have $409 billion at their disposal as we speak today. So it don't matter who sit in that seat in the United States of America as a president, you need to file claims for yourself. Now let's get to this. What is service connected? Service connection is, ladies and gentlemen that are listening, any injury, condition, or maybe a disability related to your occupation. It could be presumptive, undiagnosed, pre-existing, to what you physically did with your body. So you got to think bigger. What did you do with your body in the military? So what you do is go to Google and look up occupational hazards to a parachutist, what they call parachute joint disabilities, occupational hazards to working on a tank. Let's simplify these things. Now, you had to be fit for duty. So that first physical that you took in the military cleared you. Now some of y'all got waivers. You got a waivers for maybe flat feet. They can do it maybe for a knee condition, maybe for migraine headaches. I don't know. But you got to look up what are military waivers, and then you will understand what military waivers are. Then you look up what is service-connected disabilities. You look that up. So you got to do the research. Could you cut your phone off and stop looking at that other stuff and look up what you need to look up? Now let's go to this right here. Service treatment medical records. Call 1-800-827-1000 and a representative will go on, get on the phone and will help you retrieve your service treatment medical records if you don't have them. Now, the crucial thing is you got to try to match your service treatment medical records with your VA medical records or your private medical records. So please, ladies and gentlemen, stop going to the doctors talking about stuff that's not related to your military service and your injuries, combat or non-combat. People got injured in car accidents when they went home. So you was in the military, so you got injured in a car accident and you busted up your knees and your back and your elbows and your chin. You can file claims for that. Stop listening to what people telling you. People saying, well, you can't file claims for that. Yes, you can. You can file claims for injuries in boot camp. I wasn't in the military with you. You was in the military with yourself. So we got to factor more things in the situation than taking away from the situation. We are so beat up and damaged from misguided information, we can't even see this. Put a pair of binoculars on, you can't even see down the street. You're still blind. You can't see. You got to try to find somebody out there to help you navigate this tumultuous system. Let's deal with Gulf War Registry. If you went to the Gulf War 1 and 2, that's for in particular words, go sign up on the Gulf War Registry and Burn Pit Registry. If you was exposed to burn pits or worked on burn pits and you have any conditions to the Gulf War Registry, go with it's a list, and in conditions related to burn pits. It's a list. All you gotta do is go on Google. Boom. I have these conditions. Tell the doctors and keep it moving. Let's try to simplify this. This is the next thing. That's a hot topic. These Marines exposed to contaminated water, Camp Lejeune, and also exposure to Agent Orange. Now you got a lot of them been exposed to both, because a lot of them went to Vietnam and was exposed to Agent Orange. And what Agent Orange is a spray that they use to kill the foliage. And what it is, that stuff causes cancer in human bodies. Now, the other cancer situations is exposure to contaminated water, Camp Lejeune. So you can put those two together. So they have lists. Go to the library, ask the librarian to help you do this stuff. I go to the library. Go in and get some help at. You might got a family member, a church member, or whoever. But at the end of the day, if you can make it to the local library, go to the library, make a list, and ask the librarian to help you with these in particular situations to do the research. Now, this is the other thing. They got this thing up there saying that you do not need your military medical records to file claims. This law firm, I can't think of what it is right now, but maybe next week I'll bring it up. I wholeheartedly believe that, because it's been people that been service connected for conditions related to military service that didn't have their medical records. They just don't have them. So it depends on who you're with. But you gotta remember one thing, ain't nobody gonna help you like yourself. These people are dropping the ball on people all around the country. And it's sad. I followed instructions before they had e-benefits, va.gov, and My Healthy Vet. So when I went in the VA system, none of that existed. You had to type up the paperwork, print it out, write it up, take it to the service rep, a service officer of the VA, put it in the system, and wait for potluck. I'm just fortunate enough I had somebody in my head 24/7, do this, do this, do this, do this, unconditionally. They never backed out. That's why I have the utmost respect for these two Marines. Now, said to tell y'all that Trevor Lane is not with us no more. He committed suicide. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have any problems, I want you to call 988 dial 1 and talk to a representative on the phone about whatever it is. They can help you out. If you're a civilian, you can call 988 and talk to a representative on the phone to help you navigate and try to put some of your life back together. It's sad, but it's true. 22 veterans commit or attempt to commit suicide every day in the United States of America. So that's why I got this shirt. You're not alone. Can y'all see this? We're out here to help you with open hands, with the grace of God. I don't come with closed fists. I don't have no inside voice. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, East Baltimore. I love all parts of Baltimore, but I'm from East Baltimore. I'm from Green Mountain Whitridge, Green Mountain 27, Green Mountain Boone. So that's a different environment, a different neighborhood back then, and it's a different environment and different neighborhood. It's not the worst place in the world. It's not the best place in the world. So people's first thing they see you from Baltimore. Okay, so what? I'm from Baltimore. What do you mean? Said the same thing I was in the service. You from Baltimore, like that's a black eye in life. No, well, I'm sitting right here by the grace of God having a conversation with y'all about what's going on with the business. The dude from Baltimore, they got a 12th grade education to sit up here and do research. We do research, brothers and sisters. We ain't no willy-nillys over here. The same thing I did for myself, I can assist and help anybody if they're willing to listen. It's no one way to do anything when it comes to your entitlements and your benefits from the VA. Don't believe it. Don't believe the hype. Public Enemy has a song, Don't Believe the Hype. So I'm telling you, don't believe the hype. We want you to be able to take care of yourself. So let's go back to this since I'm looking at this. PAC Act, Veterans Administration. If you were exposed to any environmental hazard, I was exposed to welding gases, I was exposed to diesel fuel, I was exposed to gasoline, I was exposed to acid on batteries, I was exposed to asbestos. I'm just talking about what I was exposed to. I'm not talking about what you was exposed to. Those are environmental hazards. Now, do I have any conditions at this present time related to that? I don't think so. So that's what the PAC is. Study what the PAC Act is. So people like, I want to file claims for the PAC Act. Well, how are you going to file claims for the PAC Act unless you know what your medical condition is. So people, read your VA medical records and have the conversation with the proper doctors so you can get the proper diagnosis, so you get the proper treatment and the proper service connection. Step 1, 2, 3, and 4. You need symptoms, diagnosis, treatment, and medication for a service connection. I don't know which way to tell you which way it goes. So we need to have a better understanding of what we need to do for ourselves. The first thing is try to get somebody to help you if you can't figure it out. Now, a lot of y'all out there are baby boomers, have medical conditions that keep you from doing things. I quite well understand that. So that's why we're having this conversation, to give you hope and aspiration and inspiration to do what you can do for yourself, and trust in the Lord and trust somebody that will come and assist you. Because the sad part about it is all of us are going to need money to survive. If this government would help these veterans file claims across the United States, we might have a better economy, since you got $409 billion at your disposal and they only use 44% of their budget, and it's a hot mess out here. Because guess what? We don't have no control over interest rates. We don't have no control of cost of living. We don't have no control over your paychecks for real, because some of y'all still making the money, same money post-pandemic, and everybody's bills are going up. I'm in the state of Florida. You ain't never seen so many homeless white folks in your life. And people in Baltimore, Maryland say, y'all got it rough? Let me tell y'all something. If I sit down here and give out a food drive down here, you will see what they say about the American melting pot was real. So these political people can get on their platforms and talk all they want to. When are they going to touch down these streets and have a conversation on what they're going to do for these people out here that live in all parts of America? Because it's my understanding that when I took this oath, that I was a citizen of the United States of America. That's my understanding. And I took an oath to defend this country. So, you know, and we earned every bit of it. I am a non-combat veteran. That means I've never been to combat. Right? Open your ears up to this. At Fort A.P. Hill in Virginia, it's a training facility up there. Okay? Near Quantico, that's huge, that people do all kinds of training, and some of the training is horrific. We were trained to use weapons, ladies and gentlemen, and if you did not qualify with the M16 in the United States of the Army, you went home. I don't want to hear what nobody got to say. You had to qualify with them weapons, and you had to keep your weight down. When I was in, and you had to qualify in different levels of being a soldier. So you went from a civilian to be a soldier. So I went in the military where they shoved you in a gas chamber and you thought you were gonna die. If y'all can relate to that. So maybe you got some PTSD, anxiety, and mood swings from choking to death for like 3 minutes. I don't know. So we want to talk about different programs in the VA. Chapter 35, vote rehab. If you want to go to school, find you a counselor, and that'll be another way that you can go to school, or, you know, open up a business to get some more money to help yourself and help your family. This stuff is unlimited. We could talk for hours, and I love it, because I'm going to embrace the people. And this is another thing I need to put out there, since we've been having some troubling times behind the scene. I'm a first person. So this show is the first show that will be uploaded on YouTube. Because we had some interference out here with people trying to say that the content wasn't relative to who was hosting the content. I'm talking about on Facebook. So the shows moving forward will be put on YouTube, so you can find us up on YouTube, Conquering the Octopus. So I'm gonna full-heartedly advertise my show on WBGR TV, that the proprietor is Lionel Green, and he's a veteran, and I take my hat off to him. You're not gonna stop this campaign. I am results and purpose driven to the core, and I will assist my brothers and sisters until the Lord calls me home with open hands. That's what we're doing. So we got some interference. You know, I got a little bit upset about it, but I'm out my feelings that happened the week before and the week before and the week before and the week before and the week before. So, you know, guess what? When you push me in the corner, I'm going to come out bigger and better. And I'm going to put God first. I have to do that because God has allowed me to do this to help my brothers and sisters, no matter what color you are, what creed you are, your sexual orientation. We ain't doing none of that. I walk with God. I'm talking first person. I want y'all to hear that. So we're really out here for you, for the ones that want to do what they need to do for themselves. So we have the information, the education, and the research so you can address your in particular situation with the Veterans Benefits Administration and Health Administration and Veterans Affairs. Don't give up on yourselves. Please. You fought for your country no matter if you combat or non-combat. Don't give up on yourself right now. Just, you see what it says in the head, divine. Let's have some divine thinking around here. And maybe that we can usher in a different thought process to conquer this octopus that's all over the place. And I called it that, and I'm standing on octopus. Next thing you know, we're gonna have some T-shirts and hats out and all kinds of octopus conventions and things of this nature, because you know you don't never know how far that's gonna go. I know that people are listening because I get phone calls all the time. People are contacting me, and you know we gotta hit them in their hearts and let them know that we're here for them. You know, if anybody else ain't here for you, we're here for you, and I'm wholeheartedly saying that because I stand with God, and God ordained this, and God allowed me to be put in a position to help God's people. That's what we're here for. Because if you ain't trying to help nobody, you need to get out the way. Do that. First person, get out the way. You got a lot of people out there running interference and blocking people's blessings. You ain't gonna get no blessing blocking people's blessings. It ain't gonna happen. So let's look at the big picture. The big picture is that everybody in the world needs money to survive. So people sit up and say, oh, everything's ain't about money. I tell you what, don't have none and see what happened to you. When you go to the gas station, when you go to the supermarket, when you go to the church, it does not say Republican or Democrat. You need to pick your vote by the merits of the work that these people put in and who they assisted in helping this country, and not the buffoonery and the sideshow and all the stuff like this, talking like this, right? So I can't tell you who to vote for. I'm 60 years old, and you know what I mean? The guy that said make America great again, I don't know about that, because they want to push the initiative 2025. And everybody needs to read that, because 2025 been in effect long before. It just didn't start yesterday. So we need you to understand that it's strings being pulled all around us that we have no control. So they're supposed to take care of us like Lincoln's promise, and as far as I'm concerned, that's not happening. It's not happening good enough for me. If we look out for each other and show some love, it'll be a better world. I'm doing what Mother says. Love conquers all, ladies and gentlemen. Hatred has no place in my heart. It shouldn't have no place in a man and woman hearts. We can't function off of that. When it's chaos, it's always going to be destructions. When it's order, that's more in God's a good orderly direction, as what God will want for us, right? That's what I'm saying. So, you know, people have different beliefs and things of this nature, but at the end of the day, the average human being wants a decent living. It don't matter who you are, where you come from, what you look like. The average human being wants a decent living. This is why we got this on here. So these veterans can have a voice, and their family members have a voice and speak and get this stuff out that's stuck in them for years, and try to understand how they can move forward in their life and flourish. It's about flourishing. We ain't going to the bathroom without toilet paper no more. That ain't gonna work. That's a messy situation. I'm just letting y'all know that. That's off the top of my head. So here we go. This guy right here is the same guy that's right here. I'm two people. I'm a civilian and I'm a veteran, and I come with open hands to help my brothers and sisters navigate the Veterans Benefits Administration and Health Administration and Veterans Affairs. My name is Jamal Childs, and I approve this message. May God be with you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm praying for you. Nothing like a moment of silence. God be with you.